Hi everyone. We start with Bitcoin from, today or even since yesterday. I started within. We try to put because last time I tried to do the analysis for the each coin separately, but nowadays, since the most of the charts they have a similar movement, we try to put everything together, and we try to focus on the major those coins is the most important. Okay, as I mentioned, because most of the chart they have a similar movement and we are within the correction if we refer to the daily chart. All right, first we start with the Bitcoin. Now we want to see how we can look for chart, whether we can look for the trade or not. First things, if we refer to the daily chart, even if we refer to our analysis, we mentioned as long as the price haven't break the top or the low of this correction, we are any trade within this correction we consider as a short term, and we are more interested to look for buy. You want to see whether we can get the reversal or not, because we mentioned if there is a breakout of the 28,500, the next level mostly we can see the somewhere around 25k. Okay, and if we refer to the daily chart for the Bitcoin, the first things you want to whether this is the turn to a flat or we can expect the price to reverse. For sure, if you want to look for trade, as we know the price is at the lowest based on daily correction, if we get any reversal, we will take the trade for buy. But we try to look for the trade setup. This is what I mention every time in my analysis. And if we move to forward chart for the Bitcoin, right now what I'm looking for, the first things I'm looking to get, if I get any opportunity for buy from here, I will take the trade. And I want to see the breakout of the previous top, which is around 35,500. Okay, but in the bigger picture, we should know that there is a possibility with this one turn to a flat. If this is a flat, the next down move, at least the price can retest the 28,500. Okay, that's mean if we get any trade setup for buy from this correction, we will take it, but we need to see the breakout of the previous top. Okay, because we mentioned if we get any trade setup, it depends on the strategy we're using. If it's not moving in our direction, we are not going to keep the trade for long term. That's why we mentioned within the correction, any trade within the correction, we should have the first, if we should get the trade setup, then we should know how to manage it if it's not moving in our direction. Anyway, as we can see based on forward chart, we want to see whether we can get any trade setup for buy from here or not. And in this case, the best things if the price can consolidate here for longer time, it can give us better confirmation for continuation. Okay, and even we mentioned about the in my last analysis, if we want to put this loan relative to the previous one about the divergence, and this is what we get. And now we want to see whether we can get any trade setup based on 1 hour chart or not. If I move to 1 hour chart, all right now, this is what I'm looking for. All right. The best thing is if we get one more drop, at least we can conform with the three waves as a flat. Then any reversal, mostly we should get the trade setup based on 1 hour chart. We can look for trade. Or the another option is if the price can continue from here as a short move. The only way is if we want to look for continuation as a short move, we put our entry above the top, which is around 33, 33650. Okay. This is the only way we can look for trade. It depends on traders. Either they want to put the entry above the top in case the price continue from here, or we wait for one more drop, then any reversal from there, we will take the trade. Because if we get one more drop, we can confirm with the flat. And we should know that if we want to look for trade by having entry above the top, we want to see the continuation as a short move, similar to what we get here. And if the price tag we see is not moving within the first or maximum second hours, we take out the trade. Similar to in my last analysis, we have been looking for buy from here. The price didn't move. Then we mentioned after 2 hours we take out the trade. Okay, this is the only way we can look for trade. The only thing is if we move to forward chart, we should know that about there is a possibility we get one move up and this one turn to flat for price to drop. That's mean if you get any trade setup for buy, we see there is no. I mean, the way is move is corrective. Either we move our stop loss to break even or we take out the trade. We are not going to keep the trade for long term. Okay, and most of the chart they have a similar movement. And the next one is ETH. And even for the ETH, if we move to daily chart, All right, as we can see, the price almost at the lowest if we refer to this correction. Okay, because if we mention if there is a continuation with the breakout of 1750, the next level we're looking for is 1500. But right now we see the support somewhere around 1750, because as we can see a few times the price tag, but it couldn't break. Okay, that's why if we get any trade setup for buy, this is what we're looking for, because in terms of the risk and reward, it can give us a really good trade. Okay, but right now we don't have any trade setup, and the only thing is if we get the trade based on lower time frame, based on 1 hour chart, and if we move to forward chart, if we get the correction here, we will take the trade. Similar explanation as a Bitcoin. For sure, if we get any trade setup for buy from here with the stop loss somewhere around 1700, and that's mean 1.7k. And if the price can reverse in terms of the risk and reward, it can give us a really good trade. And again, we should know we can expect the price continue and this one turn to flat, similar to what we get here. Second internal flat for price to drop. That means still we are within this down move as a corrective. But from now, if we get any reversal, any trade setup for buy, we will take it. If it's moving, we keep the trade. If not, we take out the trade, because even if the price cannot continue from here, we get one more drop, we can look for the second opportunity. That's why we have to trade it. We are not going to keep the trade, because we can see a lot of the, whether we call the news advertise for the Bitcoin and ETH, they are asking to keep their coins for the long term. Yes, we are looking for the reversal, but we need, if we want to look for buy from now, if we want to buy, we should get the trade set up. But how? Because we cannot see the confirmation how deep the price can go on whatever the levels. For example, I mentioned about 1.5. It is as like a prediction how deep it can go, because even if there is a continuation, because still we are with the down move, even the price can drop more than what we expected. Okay, this is the reasons why I was keep talking that we should take the trade. I mean, we look for the trade setup. If it's moving, we keep the trade. If not, we take out the trade. We are not going to keep the trade for long term. Similar again, we had the approach. I mean, we have been looking for buy even from here and here. There was no trade setup, and the price, I mean, there was a trade setup, but it didn't move in our direction. Anyway, based on 1 hour chart, as long as the price haven't retest the previous low, we can put this one as a correction relative to this. If we get any trade setup, we will take the trade. How high it can go? Simply, we can put our fib. The first target we can look for is somewhere around 27%, which is somewhere around 1940. And the next level is somewhere around 20k if we get any trade setup from here, because we're using the 27 and 61% as a target. Okay, then the first target is 1940 if we get any trade setup from here. And right now we're looking at this correction. Either we wait for the three waves structure, or that means we get the trade setup based on 15 minutes. That means if we get any trade setup within this one based on 15 minutes, we take the trade, or we put our entry above this, which is around 1.9k. All right, 1900. All right. Anyway, as we mentioned, we're looking for continuation as a sharp continuation in the bigger time frame. But whatever we have here, if we get any trade setup, the first target is 1940. We're looking for continuation. We are not looking for this trade. But if we see the price is not going in our direction, we are not going to keep the trade, because we mentioned we can expect this one turn to flat. All right. And even if we move to Bitcoin, if we put our fib here, somewhere around 27%, the next level I'm looking for is around 34550. 34550 as a first target. This is how we can look for the, because if we get any trade setup, our target is somewhere around 27% and 61%, not more. Because if there is a continuation, we keep the trade. It doesn't mean the price cannot move higher than this. We want to see breakout of this, and the next level is somewhere around 36. Okay. The reason is if the price cannot continue as a short move, again, we can look for the internal flat. All right. And right now we're looking at this correction for the ETH, sorry, Bitcoin. And even we discuss about the ETH because we mentioned most of the chart, they have a similar movement. And if I move to XRP, what we have based on XRP, if we move to daily chart, as we can see, the price broke the correction. Now, whether this is the start of the reversal or we can expect this one turn to a correction, similar to what we have here for the bigger flat for price to drop, we cannot confirm with that. But what I can see here, if you refer to the indicators, MACD show me the divergence and as well here. That means if we get any reversal, we will take the trade. And right now, based on daily chart, we're looking at this correction. All right. Even this is the start of the reversal, or we can expect this one turn to a deeper correction. Any trade setup for buy, we'll take it. Okay. But we should take the trade. I mean, we look for the trade by having a trade setup. Because for sure, if this is the start of the reversal, any trade in terms of the risk and reward, it can give us a really good trade setup, really good trade. Okay, but how to look for trade? If I move to forward chart, and what I can see here, still we can expect this one turn to a correction for price to give us one more drop. Whether we should wait for the one more drop, we look for the next move. This is how we can look at the chart in terms of the technical analysis. All right. And since we know most of the chart, they have a similar movement, we don't need to wait for the price for one more drop before we get the next trade. If he wants to look for trade, we need to know that we can expect the price consolidate here, give us one more drop before we get the next move. We should be aware of that. That means if we get the trade and it's not moving our direction, we are not going to keep the trade for long term. And if I move to 1 hour chart, how we can look for trade? All right. The first thing is whether we can put this one as a correction relative to this or not. Okay. If we put our fib here, simply, for me, if I want to put this move as a correction, I don't want to see the breakout of the 61%. It doesn't mean if the price breaks 61%, we cannot put. The best things is at least somewhere, if the price going to give me one more drop, at least we see the reversal somewhere within this range. Okay, then how we can look for trade? If I remove this one, the only way is to put our entry above the top. All right, then how about if the price, if I remove this one, we should know that if we were going to put our entry above the top, which is somewhere around 0.633, just I make it very clear. That means our entry should be somewhere around 0.633, 0.633. Okay, and what we want the price continue as a sharp move. There is a possibility the price tag and drop. That's why I mentioned we should note that we can expect this one turn to a correction for one more drop before we get the next move. That's why if we want to look for trade, we need to see the breakout of the sharp move. Then now it depends on the traders, whether they want to wait for this one turn to a correction for one more drop before they look for the next trade, or they want to get the trade from here. How about if the price continue from here? Then the only way is to put our entry above the top. And what we want the price continue as a sharp move, break and continue. If the price tag we see is not moving, we are not going to keep the trade more than 2 hours. Within the first or second hours, we have to make a decision. And if the price reverses as a corrective move, we are not going to keep the trade. If we get the trade, how high it can go, simply we put our fib here with the breakout of the previous top, which is this one. That's mean with the breakout of the first things we're looking for, whether the price can break 70 cent or not. If there is a breakout of the 70 cent, then the next level we're looking for is 74 and following by 80. Okay, but we are not going to keep the 80 there as yet. The only thing is right now we focus whether we can see first things, if we get any trade setup from here, whether the price can break the previous top, and after that we're looking for 74 cent. All right, if I move this one, all right, this is how we can look for trade. Rather than that, we don't have any other option to look for the trade. Buying without the trade setup, it depends on the traders, but I won't suggest that. All right, and we should know that maybe we get a lot of the trade setup and it doesn't move in our direction. Then we have a, like, If it's not moving, as I mentioned, it depends on the strategy we use. We are not going to, for example, by having entry above the top, we are not going to keep the trade more than 2 hours. Again, there is a possibility we get a lot of the trade setup that it doesn't move in our direction. But if the price move in terms of the risk and reward, we can get a really good trade setup. And if it price drop, that means if it move against our direction, at least we are not in the trade. We can look for the next opportunity. Okay, because I hear some of the traders, they call that, yes, the price of the, for example, XRP is very low, almost 61 cent, for example, and the highest we get was 1.96 if we refer to this move. Okay, whether this is a cheap to buy or not, we cannot see, we cannot confirm yet. Okay, any confirmation, any the price, how deep it can go is just a prediction. Okay, then how to look for trade, I mean, how to, whether we should buy or not, we should look for the trade setup. If it's moving, we keep the trade. If it's not, we take out the trade. And what I mentioned in my last analysis, we don't want to see the breakout of this zone. That means we don't want to see the price break somewhere between lower than the 40 cent. Okay, we want to see the reversal somewhere between 60 and 40 cent. Because if the price drop more than that, we can expect we will be within this down move or bigger correction for longer time. Okay, this is the only way we can look for trade. What I try to discuss in my analysis, how we can look for the trade setup and how we, whether we should keep the trade or not. If it's not moving, as we mentioned, we keep. If it's not moving, at least we should know how to manage it. All right, and the next one is the ADA. Most of the chart, they have a similar movement. Even for the ADA, if we move to daily chart, all right, this is where we get it. We mentioned we don't want to see the breakout of one. As we can see, the price drop, tag, and reverse. Whether this is the start of the reversal or not, we cannot confirm again. We just try to trade it. But for sure, if we get any trade set up for buy, we will take the trade. And if I move to 1 hour chart, sorry, 4 hour chart, what I'm expecting this one turn to a corrective for the price drop to give me one more drop before we get the reversal. This is the technically, this is how we can look at the chart. It doesn't mean the price cannot continue or even cannot drop. Okay, and what I'm looking for, I want to see whether I can look at this one in relative to this or not. That means if I get any trade set up for buy, I will take the trade. Okay, and again, how to look for the trade. And if I move to 1 hour chart, all right, and what I can see here right now, I'm looking at this one in relative to this. And first thing we should know that there is simply the price can tag the top. This one tend to internal flat in relative to this. We get one more drop. And this is the best things if we get. Whether we should wait for this down move before we take the trade, or we can look for the trade even within this. It depends on the traders. Okay, but we should know again, most of the chart, they following the Bitcoin. Having entry above this, again, is the only option if we want to look for the trade from here, which is we prefer to put our entry around 1.31. Okay, 1.31. And what we want to see the continuation as a sharp move. If the price tag and this is not moving again, we are not going within the first or second hours. We should start to manage. If the price reverses a corrective move, we are not going to keep the trade over entry above the top. The only thing is I want to see the price break and continue, because if the price cannot break, we see the flat. This one turned to 3 waves in relative to this, and the price can give me one more drop. And even we can expect this one continue and retest the previous top, and then the price drop bigger flat. What type of the flat, we need to see later. But if I get any trade stop for buy from here, I will take it. And how about if I move to 15 minute? All right, even based on 15 minute, if there is a continuation as a flag, we can take the trade within the correction. And we want to see the breakout of the previous stop. Then which one we should trade? Whether we should trade based on 15 minute or we put our entry above the top. Again, it depends on the traders, but based on 15 minutes right now, I don't see any trade setup yet. And if I move to 1 hour chart, okay, the only way to look for trade right now to put our entry above the top, and we can put our stop loss right now either below this one, which is 0. Around somewhere around 0.95, or we'll put our entry below here, which is around 1.2. It depends on the risk that the traders they are going to take the trade. I mean, to the amount the traders they are going to risk for this trade. Okay, how high it can go? We need to see the breakout of 1.4. If the price can break, then we put our fib within this move, and we will look for the 27%. Okay, why 27%? If we just try to test, it's like based on the experience, we mostly after the breakout, if we get any trade setup, the first level we can look for is 27%. This is based on the experience. Okay, and how about if I move to LTC? Similar explanation. And if I move to daily chart, if we refer to our analysis, I mentioned we want to see the breakout of this one. And I mentioned if we want to look for the reversal, we don't want to see the breakout of 113. As we can see, the price almost tag and reverse. No, whether this is the start of the reversal or we can expect to price consolidate here for one more drop, we need to see. But if the price consolidate here, the next drop simply can break 113, and even the price can drop to 60, as low as 60. Okay, then it doesn't mean we cannot look for trade, because if we get a trade for buy in terms of the risk and reward, it can give us really good trade setup. Okay, and right now if we move to forward chart, we're looking at this one. If we get any trade setup from here, we will take the trade, and we want to see the breakout of the previous top. Why? Because we can expect the price tag drop, give us a flat before we see the continuation. All right, and where we can put our, if I move to 1 hour chart, where we can put our stop loss. Again, the best thing is if we put our stop loss somewhere around 105 or somewhere around 117. Again, it depends on the risk, the amount that the traders they are going to take take the risk for this trade. Okay, and even if you want to look for trade for the LTC, the only way is to put our entry somewhere around 130. All right, and what I'm looking for, we want to see the continuation as a sharp move, and we want to see the breakout of the previous stop. Most of the charts they have a similar movement. That means even technically we want to analyze the charts, mostly they have a similar movement. The only thing is how high and what's the next level. We mentioned if we get any trade setup with the breakout of the previous top, which is 138, I'm looking, which is this one, 138. We can put our entry, our fib here, we can look for the 37%. All right, and the next one is the Doji. And again, if you move to the Doji based on daily chart, we have been looking for the breakout of this correction. We mentioned if the price drop to 20 cents, any reversal will take the trade. Okay, and right now, if we get the correction here, deeper correction, any trade setup for long term, it can give us really good trade. All right, but again, if we want to look for trade, we have to get the trade setup. And what I can see here, technically, when we see this kind of the sharp move, we can expect this one turn to a corrective, deeper correction for one more drop before we get the reversal. Okay, then whether we should wait for the one more drop before we take the reversal, or we get the trade within then this move, it depends on the traders. All right, in any way we can look for the trade. And if we move to 1 hour chart, for sure the best things, if we want us to look at the chart in terms of the technical analysis, we prefer this one turn to flat, and even if the price retest the top, we get one more drop, we see the confirmation with the three wave structure with the breakout of 23 cent, and it reversal from there we take the trade. But how about if the price really continue from here? Again, the only way is to put our entry above this, which is somewhere around 0.256. Rather than that, we don't have any other options. And how about if the price tag and drop? Because we know about this possibility. Then traders, they should make a decision whether they want to wait for one more drop before they take the trade, or they can put their entry above this. All right. But if the price tag, we see there is no movement continuation within the first or second hours, you take out the trade, because we know about the bigger picture. The price can drop and before we get the next move. All right. And again, if we get any trade from here, what we're looking for, at least we want to see the breakout of the previous low, which previous top, which is somewhere around 0.2929 cent. And how about the Doji for the hit BTC? We should know that if we refer to the hit BTC, the Doji, the price is much more lower than other exchanges. All right, but they have a similar movement right now, and still we can put this one as I explained based on the Doji for the other exchanges. Technically, we want to see one more drop. This is the based on the technical analysis. This is the best things because at least I see the internal flat. Okay, and even if the price going to continue from here, the only way is to put our entry above the top, which is around 0.1025. All right, this is the only way right now we can look for trade, but we should know in any of them we mentioned by having entry above the top, we should know that how risky is that the price can drop. If the price cannot break and continue, we can see the drop because what we can see here, if I move to this one, what we can see here, we can see the price drop as a sharp move, we get the correction. We can expect this one turn to a deeper move, we get the next down move as well. All right, that's why if the price cannot break with a sharp move, we are not going to keep the trade. Okay, anyway, this is the only way we can look for trade. And as we mentioned, any trade is a short-term trade, which if the price is not moving in our direction, we are not going to keep the trade for long term. Even if we are in the profit, at least we move our stop loss to break even. Anyway, we just follow the chart. If I see any update or any confirmation for the reversal, I will share. Thanks.